Now let's get to the scheduled program. Welcome hip hop fam, this is the Lost Element brought to you by Hippie, where we hear from the real defenders of the culture. Yo, what's good LA? Y'all listening to Lost Element on KQBH 101.5 FM. You know, today we got another real one here in the studio. If y'all been paying attention, y'all probably seen his name up all over different counties, different cities. But without further ado, how we do it here on this show? What you write, my boy?
What's up, everybody? I write Fuer IMK.
That's right, man.
Good to be here.
Thanks for coming through. So like how I like to start off the show, just tell the people a little bit about where you grew up, and then from there how you got into Graff.
So I'm from Orange County. I got into graffiti at the age of 10. I was kind of brought into it by my older cousins. Shout out to SOK. They kind of just brought me on, taught me what's up, kind of just gave me the whole rundown on graffiti, just what it was, and as a kid, I guess, seeing all that, seeing my cousins in that lifestyle, just I really gravitated towards it. I thought it was really cool, and I stuck to it, and fucking, this is the result of it. 16 years later, still doing it.
That's right, man. So like you said your older cousins, bro, like they kind of put you on to the game. Like did they like mentor you, or they kind of like, all right, you're writing, let's see what mistakes you make, then I'm gonna tell you after?
So it was kind of more so of like me kind of seeing their shit, and I would just like, just ask questions like, hey, like, how do you do this, or what's this? They kind of just taught me like, what was tags, what bombing was, just kind of like pretty much gave me the whole rundown on kind of like the fundamentals of graffiti, I guess. And from there I kind of just picked it up on my own. They would fucking sketch me my name and shit, and I would fucking practice it, and at that age I was like about like 12 years old, and fucking I fucking took that shit to school, got arrested for it, fucking tagging up fucking the restrooms and shit, fucking I got caught up or whatever, and fucking I had to do like 150 hours of community service at the age of 12, so it, it was just something fucking I had too much time as a kid, and just fucking, it was just something that I guess I fucking dedicated myself so much to it that that's pretty much all I cared about, just going out and just fucking tagging on shit, I mean, fucking, of course I wasn't into like piecing at that time or anything like that, just tagging and bombing and shit. Yeah. But that was pretty much it, fucking, just kind of like evolving over time, and just kind of like picking up, like a little bit from my cousins, a little bit from like what I would see in the streets, like fucking, I grew up like in gang areas and shit, so like a lot of like gang graffiti, like I feel like in Santa Ana, more than anything, like our style, or if we have a style, I guess, I don't know, like we got like this fucking, it's like a mix of like graffiti and like placazos, so it's like we got like this tag banger style, and fucking that's kind of like what I had as a kid and shit. And then fucking up until like I guess the age of like 14, I started like kind of like really like meeting like people who were actually bombing and shit, and fucking I met a good set of friends, we started a crew and shit, and fucking we fucking just took off from there. Just been fucking just bombing ever since, and just writing and shit, just trying to get better, like not really like, like, I mean, fucking, I don't consider myself like to be like fucking great or anything, like, or even like really good or anything. I guess fucking want to like just be better than I was before, like I'm not really like in a competition with anyone else more than myself,
That's right, man, it sounds like you're a real student of the game. You feel me, like just wanting to excel. But I want to ask you, bro, because like you said, you want to compete with yourself and get better as time goes. But do you remember that first piece you ever hit up, and what that piece looked like?
Yeah, so my first piece, I mean, like I said, as a kid, I wouldn't even really piece like that, to be honest with you. I would do more like bombing and tagging and stuff. Like I feel like I wasn't at that level yet, I guess.
Yeah.
So even if I tried, fucking, I know I couldn't. I couldn't make it happen, you know. So, I guess the first, kind of piece that I did was we went to this yard and fucking, it was it didn't come out that good, you know. It was, yeah, wasn't very good.
Man, hey, it's all good, bro. That's everyone's first bomb, first piece, first tag, you know. Next thing I want to ask you, bro, is like, how'd you get the name?
So my name, honestly, like a lot of graffiti writers that I knew around that time, like, you know, our names didn't really mean anything, honestly. It was just kind of like a fusion of letters that you kind of liked, and that's kind of just how I came up with it, you know. It's just like, you know, I just coming up with letters and just kind of like, I don't know, my name doesn't mean anything, honestly. Yeah. Just yeah. You
just chose the letters.
Yeah, it's just good letters, and I liked how it vibed together. It just flowed well, and yeah. One of the things that my cousins would always tell me, like, you know, when you come up with your name, like, just stick to it, you know. Like, there was times where like I wanted to change my name and shit. I would get frustrated with, like, you know, like a certain letter or whatever. I'm like, fuck, like that. I don't like you know, the F or whatever, and you know, I just kind of like stuck to it, you know. I just kind of like stayed with that name and just kind of, you know, just kind of like, I guess, just progressed with it, you know, just kind of like really made it my own.
That's right, man. So like I know earlier, bro, you brought up Orange County, and I think you're the first Orange County writer on this show, bro. And you know, a lot of people, when they think of California graffiti, they think in like the Bay and LA. But, you know, from the OC, like, just for those that don't know, listening in, like, what's the scene out there in the OC for Graff?
Honestly, the Graff scene in Orange County is very small. I would say it's 90% tag banger, 10% graffiti. You know, for the most part, all you're gonna really see there is like a bunch of tag banging crews. But, you know, every now and then, you know, there is a couple writers, you know, a couple crews that really do put it down out there. But I would say we're not nearly as like pushing the boundaries as like LA would be, you know, with the, you know, they got rappelling over there. They got, you know, people doing all these like really crazy stuff out there. And I feel like Orange County hasn't even reached that level yet. You know, it's very new. It's not new, of course, but it's still like in its early stages, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, I want to ask too, like with Orange County, you know, like other than like downtown, like Santa Ana, like, you know, it's, when I think Orange County, I don't really think of downtown area. So, like, is it harder to get up over there? Is there?
Yeah, so it's definitely different. From my experience, Orange County is a lot hotter than LA is.
Yeah.
So over there, I feel like there's no like a culture appreciation towards like graffiti. So like people don't really like have like a liking to graffiti over there yet, like as how they do in like Long Beach or LA or like certain like big cities. Like, you know, they like how graffiti looks and stuff like that. Like over in Orange County, like they want to get rid of all of that. It's like very gentrified, very like, aside from Santa Ana, there's not much culture anywhere. So I feel like, you know, they don't like it. Like everything there, like you kind of have to like either catch a freeway spot or catch something like you got to climb something and like, you know, make some shit rock, because like over there they'll buff your shit, and it's like it's a lot harder to get up over there, honestly, just because they're I feel like they're very focused on like, you know, just like keeping it like underhand. Like they don't want it to get like out of hand, I guess. Like, so like fucking, you know, they're out buffing. Fucking, you try to catch a street spot in Santa Ana even, and fucking shit doesn't rock there anymore, you know. Like the only thing that rocks is freeways, honestly. That's kind of like what I try to go for when I go painting in Orange County. Like I'll hit like a freeway or I'll climb something, because like aside from that, there's everything else is kind of like it'll get buffed really easily.
Yeah, no, I feel you, man. Like I know out in the OC, you guys got a lot of talented writers like yourself, man. But like when it comes to like the whole culture, do you feel like OC writers, they get slept on, like when it comes to conversations of Graff?
Yeah, for sure. Cause I have definitely met a lot of good writers here in Orange County, and a lot of good people have came out of here. We definitely don't get like I guess a lot of recognition or whatever, but at the same time, it's like I feel like graffiti now in Orange County, it's a lot. It's I wouldn't say it's dead, but there's not a lot of people really like painting out there like that. Like people will either come to LA to paint, or like no one, like people, it's like you'll see like spots every now and then, but it's like not really like how it used to be like back when I was a teenager and stuff. Like you would see a lot of street spots. Like I feel like fucking I feel like that doesn't really happen as much anymore.
Yeah. Nah, I feel you, bro. You know, I'm gonna switch it up right now to our next segment. It's gonna be about your style, bro. So the first one I wanna ask, man, like, what's your creative process when you go up to hit one of these spots?
So honestly, for me, when I go painting, I don't really have a sketch. I kind of just, you know, go up to the wall and just let my mind just kind of take over. Like I've heard a lot of people say that like when they go painting, like they do it for like the adrenaline and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But for me, it's kind of like the opposite. I do it like when I'm hitting a wall, my mind's at a blank. I don't really get like that adrenaline rush people talk about. For me, it's more of like a peace and tranquility, like more like therapy in a sense, you know.
Yeah.
Like and I guess that's what I kind of just let my creativity take over and just kind of like what I'm feeling like I guess that day. And I kind of just, you know, I never really go with a game plan. I just kind of like feel the wall, look at the spot, kind of just like, you know, see what I'm dealing with, how much space I got, and then just kind of go from there, honestly.
Yeah, I get you. So like you said, like you kind of just like free flow it, like freestyle it in a sense, you know. Right. But it's like, is there anything that influences your style, like whether it's like music or maybe even your crew?
Yeah, for sure. I would say it would be mostly, more than anything, just like growing up, you know, like as a teenager, like in graffiti and stuff like that. I would, you know, my main influences would be my crew, you know, like they would, we would teach each other. We'd be in the same level, so like, you know, every little thing we would learn, you know, we would teach it amongst each other, and just kind of like we would all kind of like elevate together in a sense. So like I feel like if I do have any like any people that I look up to, it would definitely be my crew.
That's right, man. Sounds like a family right there.
Yes, sir.
So I know earlier you said like freeways were like your favorite spot.
Right.
So I want to know, how do you choose the spots like on the freeway? Like, is it like you just driving down, or do you plot it out like, oh, I'm gonna hit this spot?
So a lot of the times, honestly, I'm just driving by, and we just kind of like see a spot, and we'll go and check it out, you know, scope it out, see where we can park, you know, look at the exits kind of thing, and then just kind of like see if it's like a spot, you know, worth hitting, you know, like, because a lot of spots, like I said, in Orange County especially, shit gets buffed out there. So it's like you kind of want to be like a little like I guess a tactical, I guess, in a sense.
Yeah.
You really want to like, you know, like do your homework on it. So yeah, I kind of just scope it out, check it out, see if it's good, and then just go from there. Honestly, just go hit it.
That's right, man. So I know freeways are your favorite spot, but like other than freeways, like what's something else you like to go hit up on?
You know, I like climbing stuff, so what I really enjoy is like I like climbing scaffolds, you know, like,
okay,
so like you know, like anything with like you know, like anything with has to do with like climbing, you know, fucking a rooftop or something, you know, like because I feel like, you know, the higher you go, it's like the longer it's gonna rock, you know, like I feel like, you know, like it's more of an effort for them to buff it, so they kind of just let it rock, I guess, or, you know, or even like people dissing it, you know, it's like it's kind of holds up longer.
No, yeah, I get you, man. One thing I want to ask too, bro, is like certain things like I've heard from Orange County and like the times I've been out there was that's the place to go if you're trying to find these tunnels. Like, is tunnels a big thing out there too to hit up in Orange County?
Yeah, definitely. We do have a lot of tunnels. A lot of the tunnels are pretty low key. There's a lot of good stuff that I just went to a tunnel like last week. I seen some stuff from like 15 years ago. Stuff rocks there. So like,
Yeah.
tunnels are definitely a big thing here in Orange County. A lot of people like hitting those just because it's kind of like a daytime thing where it's kind of like almost like a yard, like where you kind of can just go practice and stuff like that. Like I feel like a lot of people will hit yards to like, just kind of like practice their stuff. And I personally, I don't really like hitting tunnels just for the fact. I mean, I do, but I try like what I try to do most is just like street spots or like just trying to do like illegal graffiti, just like more of like hitting a spot where like people will see it, not where it'll like just kind of be hidden.
No, yeah, I get you. Want to be seen for the whole world.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. I want to ask you, bro. You brought up a crew earlier, so I want to ask you what that crew stands for, and just tell us a little bit about the history of that crew, if you can.
Cool. Was it my crew or my cousin's
your crew?
Okay. So my crew is IMK. Stands for ill-minded, and it's been around since 2007. Me and a couple of my friends, we would all kind of like skate together and just do graffiti together, and we decided to kind of just start a crew, and we just took it from there. Ended up meeting a bunch of people in high school, and and it kind of just took its like it kind of just flowed naturally, like everyone just kind of like met each other at the right time, and then we were all kind of just into the same things, skateboarding and graffiti, and just kind of like we used to all kind of live in the same area, so it was very convenient for us to just hang out and stuff. And yeah, we've been around for I want to say going on like 16 years, 17 years.
That's right, going strong too, man. Something you brought up, bro, is the skating, man, and like I feel like that's a reoccurring like hobby with riders nowadays, man. Like, is there a connection, like especially in Southern California, between like you feel the skating community and the Graff community?
Yeah. So for me, truth be told, the only reason why I got into skateboarding was because one of my friends used to skate at that time. We were like 14 years old, and he would tell me that he was like, "Hey, dude, you should learn how to skate so that we can go mobbing it, go riding it on our skateboards. That way we don't gotta walk everywhere. We'll cover more ground or whatever, And I was like, "Hey, you know what? That's a good idea." So I was like, "Hey, can you teach me?" And we used to practice outside of his house, and that's when weirdly enough, we ended up meeting like more people that used to skate in the neighborhood, and we all got into graffiti around the same time, so it just kind of like evolved from there.
That's right, man. All right, bro. Next one I got for you, man, is why do you do graffiti?
So I do graffiti for the fact that it gives me a sense of freedom, in a sense. Like I said, when I write, I just go to like a mental blankness, right? So for me, it's almost like therapeutic. I do it just to kind of just escape everything, just kind of like, this is something that I've been doing since I was a little kid, and it's something that's always fascinated me. And every time I write, whether it's like a tag or a bomb, whatever I'm doing, even a sticker, I still get the same fulfillment and like joy of like, just the fact that I'm doing it. It's kind of like the love for the sport, just like at this time, like I don't even really care about anything. Like I don't really care about like getting like famous or like anything like that, or getting any like recognition. It's more I do it for the love of graffiti. Like that's why I will never stop, and that's why I've been doing it for as long as I have.
That's right, man. Man, with that passion for Graff and like, you know, being a writer, does it change the way you look at like everyday life when you're not painting?
Yeah, it kind of makes you feel like you're living a double life. Like you got like almost like an alter ego within people, because like I'll go to like my regular job, you know, like I'm a chef. I've been a chef for 15 years, and you know, I'll go to them and like, you know, like I'll like spend the whole weekend painting, you know, like climbing roofs and hitting the freeways, and you know, like coming in on Monday with like paint in my fingers, and like, you know, like, and then like trying to explain to them like, you know, like a little bit of my like my other life, I guess. And it's just like they can't even like wrap their head around like why I would even be doing it, why would I risk my life, you know, like just like the average person would never understand like how or why, you know. It's just so I feel like in a sense it does feel like you're living like a double life. Like it's almost like you got this secret identity.
Yeah, like Batman, man.
Yeah.
Man, another thing I want to ask you, man, is like, because we have a lot of listeners out there, you know, who are intrigued by this graffiti culture and writers, you know, but like something in this game I feel that's big is like respect. But like to those listening out there, like what does respect look like in this game we call graffiti?
In my opinion, respect would be learning your history about graffiti first and foremost. Like just learning how it came to be, you know, like the history of graffiti, the rules of graffiti. I know like a lot of people say there is no rules to graffiti, which I kind of agree to that as well, but in a sense there is rules to graffiti, you know, like there's a foundation to graffiti, and I feel like if you're gonna get into it, just really dedicate yourself to it, and just I guess just be consistency. Like it's not gonna be like an overnight thing, you know. It's not gonna take a month or two. It's gonna take time, and there's no shortcuts, you know. So you gotta put in the work.
Most definitely, man. And something you brought up was like the history, and like I know like graffiti came from New York, like hip hop scene, you know. But today, like, do you still see the connection between hip hop and graffiti in 2025?
I do see it. I do see the connection, but I also see it branching out. So, for example, like me, like I grew up on hip hop. I love hip hop, but I also grew up on like punk music and ska and metal. So like for me, and even in those scenes, I have met a lot of graffiti writers there. So like I feel like it definitely the majority, I guess, of the graffiti community, you know, like I feel like it's connected to like hip hop, but I don't know like if this is more recent or not, but I feel like now I'll see a lot of like, you know, different scenes, you know, like also being graffiti writers, you know. So a lot of punks, a lot of people in the ska scene, like I said. Yeah, definitely, it's definitely branched out over the years.
Yeah, most definitely, man. Especially like the punk and ska scene. I noticed too with like other writers, like I started checking out the punk and ska scenes, and like something I realized, some people may disagree with me, but I feel like hip hop and punk are kind of like two sides of the same coin, if that makes sense.
Right.
But that's just me. Man, next one I got for you before we go on to a break to listen to some music, man, is, do you think graffiti is art or is it vandalism?
You know what? I think it's vandalism, but it's not like a set in stone answer, just for the fact that like I feel like a lot of vandalism, like for example like breaking a window is like an act that has no artistic value, or like no, like, you know, no upside to it. And I feel like graffiti is not like a broken window, you know what I'm saying? Like there's something to it that like, you know, like it's vandalism for sure, you know. Like I wouldn't call it graffiti if it was legal. Like I feel like for me, graffiti has to remain illegal for like I guess for it to be graffiti. But like calling it vandalism is like it's like a broad statement, you know?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's definitely art for sure. But I wouldn't, like I said, like I feel like it has to remain illegal for sure.
For sure. All right, man. We can go to a little music break real quick. We got some underground tracks for you guys. We got the homie Tacit out of El Monte. You know, we got some of the boys from Dallas. We got Guap Mizzle. We got Michael. After the break, we'll be back here, back to this interview. Y'all listen to Lost Element on KQBH 101.5 FM, a community service of the Boyle Heights Arts Conservatory, broadcasting live on your FM dial and streaming on KQBH. Alright, y'all, we're back. Y'all listening to Lost Element on KQBH 101.5 FM. You know, we're gonna jump right back into this interview, bro. You got any crazy or funny stories from a mission that you could share with the people?
Yeah, so there was this one time I was trying to get this freeway spot off of the 55, and it was like this back wall behind this dispensary. Yeah. And so I had been scoping the spot out for quite some time, and you know, I was in the area. I had paint, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go try it, you know. So I go and I pull up next to there's a Del Taco next door. So I go and I pull up to next to the Del Taco or whatever, and I hop out and I go and I start, you know, busting my outline and shit, taking my time, and all of a sudden I hear a door open, and the security jumps out and he's like, hey, like, what are you doing back here and this and that, right? So I grab my stuff and I book out. I'm running out. I hop in the car, and you know, I hop in the passenger side, and they drive off or whatever. And the security kind of just walks back, and he goes inside of the building, and we kind of circle around, come back around, and try again. So we go again, and you know, I start getting the fill. I get most of the fill. The security pops out again, like, hey, what are you doing here? It was like literally 10 minutes ago, you know, like he's chasing me out. So whatever, he chases me again, and we do a little turn, we go hit another spot, we come back, and I was like, you know what, like third time's the charm, you know. So I pull in, and you know, I get the outline, get the shadow, and you know, I do some bubbles or whatever and just take off, you know. And yeah, and I got chased off the last time too. So he came out the last time, I was already done, you know. So yeah, it took me 3 times, you know, I finally got that spot.
That's right, man. Man, at that point the security should be like, you know what, just finish the spot. Yeah, bro.
Right.
Man, next one I got for you, bro, is like, what's your favorite graffiti tools, bro? Like, are you into the roller, spray paint?
You know what, I like spray paint, you know. Like recently I've been doing a lot of rollers. They're just, you know, saves you a lot of money, you know. Like I feel like with bucket paint, it goes a long way. But when I get the chance, you know, I do definitely enjoy spraying. You know, it's just something about, you know, the can, you know, just the versatility of it, I guess.
That's right, man. One thing I want to ask, bro, is like, cause you brought up that story, you know, where you're like looping around, you know, but what's one of the hardest lessons this game has taught you?
I would say the hardest lessons is just, you know, just everything that comes with it, you know, the risks of, you know, because like, you know, like it's not just like, oh, like, you know, like I'm down to just get arrested and, you know, just I'm gonna, you know, spend my adult life, you know, in jail or whatever, you know. But like, you know, you got a lot of things going on in your life and stuff like that, you know. I have a daughter, you know, like, you know, I go to school, I work, you know. I'm not trying to, like, you know, like really, like, you know, just put that aside, you know, and just kind of just be careless, you know, and with my future and stuff. Like, you know, I that's one of the things that has taught me, definitely just be careful, you know, because it definitely comes with consequences.
Yeah. So like, with that being said, man, like I want to ask, like, how do you balance, like, you know, still being active and painting, but then still, like, staying out of heat and staying out of trouble?
You know what? It's it's a it's a tough battle sometimes, honestly, because I feel like with graffiti, especially, like once you really get into it, it's kind of it consumes you in a sense, almost like it like I'll be at work already thinking about, like, as soon as I'm off, like I'm gonna go drive to LA, go hit this spot, that's all I'm thinking about, so like I feel like you really do have to like learn how to balance it, or it will definitely consume you.
Yeah, most definitely, man. Next thing I want to ask you, bro, is like, going back to what you said, like the history of this, like back when like hip hop and graffiti first started, like, and it was getting media attention. A lot of the media was trying to say, "Oh, this is just a fad; it's gonna die out." But like, the writers then passed it on, and this culture has been going strong now for many years. You being a writer, like, how do we continue to protect this culture of graffiti?
I would say it's all like in the youth, like it's up to the next generation to kind of just keep it alive, because I feel like in a sense I mean, I'm not really there yet, but I'm sure like older generations before me, they're hitting spots or whatever, but like it's mainly up to the newer generations to kind of just keep the essence going, and just kind of keep the game going, keep the ball going.
Yeah, most definitely, man. The next generations, and just now, social media's a huge thing. Everyone's on social media, from grandmas to little kids, So I want to ask you, like, how do you think social media has impacted graffiti? And do you think it hurt or helped the culture?
Social media definitely helped it and hurt it both. I would say helped it more than it hurt, just for the fact that back when I was, getting into graffiti, we didn't have YouTube, we didn't have we didn't have Instagram, so like I feel like everything was very underground. Like a lot of like the graffiti that I got influenced by was like books that I would rent in the library. Yeah. Just like it's like New York graffiti trains, stuff like that.
Style Wars.
Yeah, Style Wars, like all these like graffiti movies, like War, like. Mm-hmm. So there was not a lot like to like really like kind of like. There was not a lot of graffiti like to consume, I guess. Up until like I guess now, like like people can connect, like you're meeting writers from across the world, linking up maybe, and there's a lot more connections now, but at the same time, like it's like also like it in a sense like it's hard to distinguish like who's really up, because like some people will catch like the same spot like 20 times, just flick it and upload it and stuff, and like you're thinking they're catching all these spots, and you're like like you don't see them, and like it's like I don't know, like I feel like it's hard to distinguish like unless you're really out in the streets like looking around. Like I wouldn't rely too much on like who's up through social media.
Yeah, most definitely, man. Going off of that, I want to ask you, bro, like how it's like more like social media, it's getting more media play, graffiti, but like I want to ask your thoughts on the commercialization of graffiti, like big companies using graffiti, putting in video games, even using writers' art. Like, what's your thoughts on that?
I feel like if you can get paid for your passion, like, by all means, like like it's a window of opportunity for a lot of artists, but then again, like it's a double-sided coin. Like like a lot of the times, like like there will be like bigger companies, like that aren't even for graffiti, using graffiti, and like making money off of graffiti when they're not really for it. Like for example, like Rusto, like making their new line of paint or whatever. They were never for graffiti. They changed the little valve, back in the day or whatever.
You gotta get adapters, man.
Right, yeah, exactly. So it's like when they're trying to do it to like, feed off of the culture and stuff like that, like I don't like it. But I mean, if it can help people make money, like I'm all for it.
Most definitely, man. I want to circle back because I remember earlier you said like, graffiti has to be illegal. That's why it's graffiti. But I want to ask like where you stand on the graffiti versus street art debate, like when it comes to legal walls and galleries rather than it being in the street.
So for me, I would say there's a big difference between street art and graffiti. Like street art is cool, like I like street art, but I would definitely wouldn't put them hand in hand together. Like like there's a lot of graffiti writers that do street art, and but I feel like graffiti has to remain illegal. Like I feel like it would lose its essence if it wasn't.
No, yeah, I feel you on that 100%, man. Next one I got for you, you brought up like in Orange County, it's a lot of tag bangers, but in this game of graffiti, like there's a lot of different titles people get, like just tag banger, tagger, bomber, piecer. I want to ask you like what you consider yourself.
I consider myself more than anything just a writer, like a vandal, like I don't like one style more than the other. I mean I typically try to do like burners and stuff like that, but like I would just consider myself a writer, like I don't really I guess like I enjoy a little bit of everything, like so I wouldn't just like I'm not narrowed down on just one type of like I'm not just a tagger, like I do catch like a lot of tags and stuff like that, or bombs, or it's just kind of varies on like what I'm feeling that day.
Yeah, for sure, man. Next one I got, like, do you ever think about your legacy when it comes to your name? Like when we go years from now, like when people look back and they're like, oh yeah, that's someone to know. Like, do you ever think about the legacy?
Yes and no. So I used to think a lot about it when I was younger. Now more so, I just want to, like, for me, my only goal right now is to just become better than I was. So like that's my focus right now. I just want to become better than I was before. Just kind of just be better for my crew, and just try to improve every day. Just try to stay consistent. Just try to practice. Just try to be the best version of I guess myself to my crew.
That's right, man. I also want to ask you, bro, because like you like those freeway spots, man, and other riders could see it. Random kids going to school on the freeway might see it, but like what would you want people to take away when they see your name up, or even a crew piece hit up on the freeway or anywhere?
For sure. So for me, when I do graffiti, I do it for the graffiti community. Like I don't really I don't really do it for regular people, like honestly, like when I catch my stuff, like I don't even think about them. I do it for the graffiti community. Like I just like I'm pretty much just writing my name and just doing what I'm doing, and if you enjoy it, then good. If not, well, I mean, it's there,
Yeah. That's right, man. All right, bro. This next segment is the quick hitters, bro. So first thing that comes to mind, man. So first one I got, bro, is your favorite brand of spray paint.
My favorite brand of spray paint, I would say Dang Paint.
Oh, Dang?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Why do you choose those over any of the other brands?
You know what? I would say just because, I don't know, it's just, for me, I like, it's never, like I've never had an issue with it, and the place I go to, that's kind of like the cheapest one, so I just kind of like, I like all paints, you know, like
Yeah.
I'll buy Montana too, you know, I'll get Loop or whatever, but you know, like what I usually just go for is Dang, you know, it's cheap, reliable, you know, like it's good. Yeah,
That's right.
I like Dang paint.
Going off of that one, I'll ask like, what are your go-to tips?
Okay, so for tips, I would say the Pink Dot, the
Okay.
Astrofat, the Skinny Cream, and the Lego.
Okay, that's right. I'm a fan of the Lego.
Yeah, those are great for outlines.
That's right. All right, man. The next one, bro. This one isn't too much of a graffiti question, but if someone's out there in the OC, like, you know, catching one of those tunnels or freeway out there, what's the best local food spot someone has to try in the OC?
Oh, for sure. You're gonna have to go hit La Tapatía on First and what is it? First and like a little bit over Bristol. It's a 24-hour taco spot. You know, they got the best tortas there, tortas de asada.
Okay.
Yeah, that's definitely my recommendation, my go-to. So, you know, yeah, definitely check that spot out.
Most definitely. Next time I'm in the OC, definitely go try that place out.
Definitely.
All right, man. Last one I got for you, bro, is what's a piece of advice you have for a young writer out there, or even a young kid who's deciding he wants to jump into this game? He or she wants to jump in this game we call Graff.
I would just tell him or her, just be aware of what you're getting into. It's not something that you can just kind of just get in and out of. Like, there's consequences to this. It'll control your life, like, you know, like you, like so just really dedicate yourself to it, you know, be consistent, and just overall just do it for the love of graffiti, you know, like don't do it for you know, for whatever reasons, like for, you know, like you want to look cool, or, you know, you want to like you know, like don't do it for the wrong reasons. Just, you know, like do it for yourself, do it for self-improvement, you know, like do it for the art, do it for the love of it, you know, and just don't give up, you know, like just it's gonna take time, and there's no shortcuts.
Yeah, most definitely, man. All right, bro. Before we sign off, do you got any shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, for sure. So first and foremost, I want to shout you out for bringing me here.
Appreciate it, man.
Shout out to the homie Louie. Shout out to my girl Sneaks. Shout out to the homie Set Above. Shout out to my crew. Shout out to you know, all the homies. Like, you know, it's hard to, like, you know, come up with everyone right now, but, you know, shout out to all the homies.
That's right, man. All right, bro. Thank you again for your time. Thank you for this interview. You know, you guys are listening to Lost Element on KQBH 101.5 FM. Community service, the Boyle Heights Arts Conservatory, broadcasting live on your FM dial and streaming on KQBHLA.com. We'll see y'all next week.